It's Lawel Lift by Mobola Stephen. I'm your host of Mobola Stephen. Lawel Lift by Mobola Stephen is a self-improvement personal development podcast. So with the occasion of incredible and amazing guests, who are expert and professionals, right, who come to the show to share disruptive mind shift content, right, on any topics on all the personal development and self-improvement. Today, I have Steve Q.Wiltshire on the show. Steve Q.Wiltshire has made fitness, health, and mindset a priority for 3 decades. Shortly after winning the Mr. Oregon bodybuilding competition, Steve developed an autoimmune disease which originated from a serious gut complication, which almost ruined his health. Now, through Steve's journey, he has developed a process that has led him to assisting thousands of people now to reclaim their health and power. Now, Steve is also a keynote speaker, an author, and mindset coach, and is the founder of Body Temple Health and Wellness. Welcome to Lawel, Steve Wiltshire.
Such an honor to be here. How are you today?
Such an honor to have you on the show, Steve Wiltshire. Now, I'm looking forward to your professional expertise and alongside your personal life story. Now, we want to talk about your area of expertise, talking about health and wellness, talking about gut health, still wellness, vitality, and optimum health are your passion. So my passion is, how has the journey been so far?
First of all, I want to say what an incredible job you're doing impacting lives. I love what your podcast is about. I really want to acknowledge the work that you're doing. It is, you know what I've learned about being interviewed about 150 times. So many podcasters really want to make an impact. And I could just tell in the dialogue prior to meeting you and listening to your show, everybody, you are in the right place. You are in the right place. Yeah. So passion, more about my passion, right? You know, from a young age, my mother always said, you really want to make a difference. And she called me a healthy empath. I remember not knowing really what that meant. And I remember asking her over and over again as I got older, what does that mean? And from a young age, I've always just wanted to make an impact. And when I was diagnosed with this, what I call autoimmune condition, because I know we can heal almost anything in our body, especially when it's caught early. We can heal that. And when we tap in and we tune into our bodies, we actually are given a very direct sign from our source, whether you want to call it Jesus, Buddha, God, universe, higher guidance system, inner being, source, it will guide you. And so after I was diagnosed with this autoimmune condition, and it took me 18 months to heal. And I'll tell the story about my partner, who's my actually ex-wife of both my brands, my best friend. She healed herself from 3rd stage cancer, and she had already been on that journey. And I remember when I heard the still small voice say, after I had gone through this process and healed myself, this is what I want you to do. And so it just started a life of its own. And all of you that are listening, you are here for a reason. You have a gift to bestow to the world. And stop looking outside of yourself for that gift. That gift has been given to you. And sometimes through adversity, we find a gift because we get through it. We're open, we're receptive to it. You know, I didn't feel that way the first couple of weeks. I was in a state of shock and sadness and felt fear. But after I went through the journey, I knew that it was my next chapter in life.
Right. Right. Now, Steve, is there really a wellness and fitness practice that works? That's a very important question I'd like you to answer. Now, I would like you to tell me more about the Hippocrates Health Institute in Southern Florida. What was your experience like?
Yeah. So when I think about health, I always kind of think about a conversation that I would have with someone. And the many conversations I've had with somebody, but somebody that I would meet for the first time. And I often think about all the traveling I've done and sitting by people getting ready to board, and they're asking me questions and I'm asking them questions, or sitting by somebody in an airplane. And I know that if I were sitting next to any of you and you said, what can I do to elevate my health? My answer would be sweat every day, detox every day. It will change your life. And we sweat externally, we sweat internally, and we sweat both. Internally means you make it happen through cardio machine or running, right? You activate the sweat. Externally means you get into a sauna, right? Or you can even detox and sweat in like what I call a supercharger bath with magnesium. It might not feel that way, but you are. You can tell in your forehead, you're just sweating. And then both would be something like hot yoga, or my favorite, Bikram yoga. And so sweat. Second, produce. Go green. Go green. It has changed my life. And I find it ironic in my, early journey of, I wasn't like, I got sick because I wasn't unhealthy. I just was led down the wrong path that couldn't sustain me. I was, kind of in this bodybuilding arena. And we'll talk more about that story. It wasn't like I chose it. I was just kind of referred to a gym, and then I started to work out, and then went down these, really difficult, we'll just say, meal plans and beverage plans and supplement plans that don't sustain us as we get older. And I just didn't eat a lot of produce. I ate a lot of white rice, which is really sugar, and a lot of animal protein. And I didn't even eat a lot of produce. And so I just adapted completely to produce and live sprouts, and learning how to elevate my health through greens, produce, live food. And then third, diminish sugar. Now there are 90 plus bar-coded ingredients disguised as sugar, and 5 of them are sweeteners that are in almost just like hundreds of ingredients and products. And five of these sweeteners are more toxic than a straight shot of 151. Now, most alcohol is 80 proof. So you can imagine you can light fire with this alcohol that's 150. And so when you just start to diminish sugar, now a lot of people like to complicate their meal plans. They want a lot of variety, and they don't know what they don't know. And what I will tell you is that when you simplify the process, there's so much that you can make and create that will not only heal your body through food, but also help you live a long, healthy life. So the Hippocrates Clinic was actually introduced to my I call her Lynn, okay, my ex-wife, who's my business partner, both my brands, because she was diagnosed with 3rd stage cancer. And after she was diagnosed, she wasn't surprised because her sister died at 21. Lynn was 12. Her mother's side of the family, almost everybody had cancer. And she almost realized she expected it. It was like ingrained in her mind through experiences of all her family. It was in her genes. And so she wanted to go down this path of healing herself from 3rd stage cancer. And so she searched, and she found the Hippocrates Health Institute in Southern Florida and started to adapt those principles. Ironically, before I got, or I'll say contracted autoimmune, hear my words, condition, I was so stuck on her decision because we had a 12-year-old son, and my mom had a full hysterectomy, or excuse me, a full vasectomy. And so in my mind, I was kind of judging it. I never told her that, but for 2 years, I kept thinking, what if she dies? What if she dies? So I wasn't paying a close attention to what she was doing. So after I developed the autoimmune, I ended up, I didn't know what was happening to me. One day, all of a sudden, my gut just completely quit. And that's what happens. I had immense bloating, digestive issues, elimination issues. I immediately contacted my doctor. My blood work, my panels came back fine. They looked excellent. And I thought, what the heck's the matter with me? There's something wrong with me. And that's when I was led to naturopaths that are really healers, that understand functional medicine, and then Lynn's protocol. And I want all of you to hear that, you know, the American, what they call diet, even combining food and what we've been taught really comes from a lot of mindset around being entertained, manipulation, food that just tastes good, but isn't always conducive to ideal health. And this is what I love about the podcast movement. So many podcasters are revealing like all these concepts that were just not a reality for very few people, maybe 3% of the population 10 years ago.
Sure.
It's just training your brain how to think different, learning new concepts, right?
Right.
You have the most amazing smile. You have joy written all over your face, my friend.
Thank you, Steve. Right. Now, when it comes to gut health, I know that you've had a fair share of its complications, and I'm really glad to know that you healed. Right. So I need you to tell me, right, some of the signs of gut balance issue and LD heart that works. I know it has worked for you. I'd like you to share more insight with my.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. Can I first, I want to talk about how I got on this journey, because what's really important is to be the creator of your own reality. And I've always hired experts in business. And so I want to begin by just saying, you know, I was raised with athletic brothers, and my dad was an athlete, almost semi-pro, and I wasn't that kid. And I felt less than. And so I started to focus on things that I was good at. And ironically, I became a very successful entrepreneur by the time I was 19 years old. And I remember being at this convention. This is the story of you and I, when we feel lack or we don't know where to begin. And I'm at this entrepreneur convention. There's 4,000 people. And the keynote speaker got to the end and she looked at the group and she said, I don't want to hear anybody talk. I want to hear my pin drop on the stage. I have a question and I want you to write for 2 minutes before we end. And her question was, what are you sick and tired of being sick and tired of? And I wrote, I hate my body. And I almost started crying. I started thinking, I don't make love to my wife in the light. I never take my shirt off. I feel less than. So I came home. I made a decision. I was going to completely transform my body. And I didn't know really where to go. Back then, there wasn't a lot of gyms that were, you know, like a 24-hour fitness or, you know, what do we call these chain gyms? And my wife at that time, she's a choreographer. She's a dance instructor. She was choreographing an athlete in the Miss Olympia contest. So here I'm led to this, you know, neighborhood gym with all these buff people. That made it even worse. My gosh. So I was like, oh God, look at me. So I just kind of got into this industry with these fit people. And, you know, many of them did steroids, which I never did. And many of them, I mean, I didn't know that at the time, but I was like, how did they look so great? But so I was kind of led down that path and working with naturopaths that worked with bodybuilders, which is completely different than working with a naturopath that's functional medicine as we know this today. So here I am, 44 years old, and my friends are saying, you need to do a show. You need to do a show. And I didn't really have an interest to do a show, but, you know, I looked, you know, I was very athletic. And they're like, you're getting older, you need to do a show. And so, and I'm traveling all over the US. I'm an entrepreneur coach, you know, at that time, mindset coach, doing seminars, author, speaker. And I thought, why not? I need some accountability. And so I ended up doing 2 shows, but here's what I want you to hear. It was within about 9 months, I did 2 shows. And the 12 weeks before the first show, I was so happy. And I was like, why am I so happy? I do core value. I understand core values, and I do core value exercises. And I realized it was because it was the only time in my life that nobody's choice affected me. And I didn't realize it till I just started thinking, I can't wait to get up. I can't wait to go to, I can't hardly sleep at night. I'm so excited. And it was because I made health my top priority. I wanted to be in the greatest state spiritually, physically, emotionally, and intellectually. Now, what I was doing was excellent with fitness, but it wasn't with the meal planning. I was like on these harsh keto diets. I was taking $800 a month in supplements. In my mind, I thought supplements were all healthy. I didn't know 92% of them had toxins and chemicals. I didn't know 87% were owned by a pharmaceutical drug company. That's bizarre, disguised as a supplement company. I didn't know that these supplements and these harsh meal plans can just destroy your gallbladder, your liver, affect your kidneys. And then the week before the show is so terrible, the dieting that you go through and then pumping I didn't know any of that. And so I can see that part of my decision of just hiring people that I trusted was not a good decision to make. And so weaving back to your question, help me out. Your other part of the question was?
Yeah, the other part of the question was that I need you to share with me some LD hacks that works.
Hacks. Yes, exactly. So when I started to learn what can be defined as functional medicine, and I just want to say to all of you, there's not one fits all. And this is where you start to tap into your body. Like, although I believe and love vegan, and I'm not 100% vegan, I know my fish source. There are 80 to 120 chemicals in most fish. Like, I'm in Oregon where it rains all the time, but after things changed with what's the fertilizer, Roundup, like the best places to grow produce are actually the desert because they weren't affected. Even the rainforest was affected. So you want to be aware of your sources. And especially when you're talking about animal protein, fish, animal protein. So when I think about what I went through in this 18-month journey, many people have said to me, because I've said I spent about $20,000, and they're like, well, why? Like, why, if Lynn had been on this journey of healing herself and she had all those answers, why did you spend money? Well, I wanted to pump up my immune system and clear my gut. Now, I couldn't think. I'm a person that's extremely focused. And I had brain fog so bad. Like the next day after I had my gut looked like I was 4 months pregnant. And here I had abs, like, 6-pack, 8-pack. And so I started doing colonics. Those of you that are not eliminating and you have digestion issues or bloating, you're in the midst of creating damage to your microbiome. The gut lining. Now, the gut is the center of the body. I think it's ironic that our creator created that. Like, it's just like the engine of the body. And when the gut starts to have complications, immune is right around the corner. So on the low end is celiacs. On the high end is MS. Towards the middle is lupus. A little bit below that is fibromyalgia. And what I can tell you is you can restore your gut. And I mean, I have clients that have been patients that I've worked with that have MS and they've been in remission. They call it remission, but 7-8 years. Seriously? Like, what's that mean? Have they probably healed themselves? You can heal yourself. And so what started like $9,600 of my expenses to heal myself was colonics. And colonics is like a spa enema. It simply eliminates all the waste through water, I'll say, up your back end. And it cleans your liver. it's absolutely incredible. So after I would go to colonics, I would have clarity for a couple of days. So it's like every fourth day I was going to colonics. I also started my journey with 12 weeks of only eating grapefruit. Now I ended up working with 3 naturopaths. And the third naturopath, I was pretty well with the second naturopath. The first naturopath was pretty boxy. You know, I started off with 12 weeks of only eating grapefruit. I went from 225 pounds, I was maybe 7% body fat, to 170. I was extremely thin, but that was the beginning of healing my gut. Now, where I really want to go eventually is talk to you about prevention, because what that protocol ended up doing for me was healing my gut. And we'll talk about prevention, but it was like, I only ate produce. I did constant colonics. I realized that stress and anxiety and depression affect the gut. And for those of you that are parents, when your child says, "Mommy, my stomach hurts," it really means, I don't know how to deal with these emotions. Now, I didn't have depression, but I had anxiety. And I was always on the go. Now, where did I learn that? You know, I had 2 parents that were type A. You show up, you're responsible, you're of your word, you work hard. That's how you get to where you need to be. You self-sacrifice. I didn't even know what meditation was all about. I had tried to practice it. It didn't really work for me because I didn't understand how to create a program around that. In fact, I've got a whole program around that, a complimentary program called Steve's Miracle Morning Ritual. It changed my life. I started realizing that, talked about this earlier, that, you know, we have a guidance. And I just started being led. I mean, every day I'm asking God for the most simplest questions. I'm like, what thought did I have? Who did I say I needed to call back? And I mean, the simplest questions that I ask. And so it's too long to go into this message, but I will tell you, we have a philanthropic movement online called Body Temple Community. And if you go to Facebook, my friends, and you search Body Temple Community, ask for approval, you of course will be approved. And then the file section are so many incredible resources on fasting, detoxing, my miracle morning ritual, my amazing green nutrient smoothie. Now, adding to my restoration of health, I don't really eat a lot. I mean, I have my last meal about 7 o'clock and then my first meal the next day at 1, but I'm not starving myself because I have this sprout nutrient smoothie that's so easy to make with 5 of the greatest seeds that completely restore your health. Now, those of you that might have diverticulitis, those seeds, you buy them as seeds, but then you grind them into powder and then you refrigerate them. And that's even in the file section. We have 15 coaches that are always online answering questions, helping people, because that's what we're about, how to help people take charge of the health, body, and mindset. Kind of a long answer. Sorry about that.
Great. Thank you once again, Steve, for your professional insight on today's show. Now, I understand that you're on a mission to ensure that your clients reclaim their health and power. So what has been the success rate now? The next question is, tell me what particular health issue that you've had to handle for any of your clients, right? That was pretty challenging to address. My audience would like to know, how you address this issue.
So we're talking about clients that have dealt with some serious health complications. So I'm going to tell you that, when I have quite an influential community, I'm talking about people that are way more educated than I am with the science. And I love this community that I belong to because I have experts at my fingertips. And I'm constantly like, I have a CBD formulator that was in a head-on collision. Now, this is way before she knew anything about CBDs. Very, very influential in the world. A drunk driver hit her. She was in the hospital for a year, never supposed to walk, just one example. And she healed herself, but CBDs healed her. But that ended up leading into her being, this is the story of you and I, being guided to create a proprietary CBD through suppositories. It first started with autoimmune, then it went into Lyme disease. And all of a sudden, she's just seeing these formulations. She's searching, can't believe how she's being guided. Like, I'm around those kinds of people. Like, there are people that I've led to her that have had 3 months to live. In fact, it's really my brothers. I mean, I'm going back before I started doing health and wellness, but I knew she was in my path for a reason, because I just couldn't help but help people. And when my brother called me and said, I love my boss, my owner of my company, he's got 3 months to live. He just passed away 3 months ago. That's 8 years later, right? So there are all these incredible connections. But with that said, when I started studying, and because I've had this entrepreneur brand for 22 years, and these entrepreneurs have built like multi-million dollar businesses. It's really what I know how to do. But it's so beyond that, because it's mission, it's purpose, it's them elevating every area of their life, because who you are in one area is who you are in another. And what I'm talking about is mindset. Their health got better because I knew how to help them. Their relationships got better, even some that had compromising marriages. And so when I started to study what these health programs were about, in my heart, I thought they were old models, like a Weight Watchers. It just one fits all. And I thought, if content really worked, everybody would be successful. Why doesn't it work? Because people don't know how to change their mindset. And so that's when I started realizing what I had been doing for 22 years of helping people with their mindset. That was when the idea was born. Okay, number one, they need to make a decision. They're ready for change. Are you really ready for change? Many of you that don't know who Joe Dispenza is, YouTube, Joe Dispenza. He has done so many case studies around people that have healed, like thousands of people that healed, and healed with a death sentence. That means they had a certain period of time to live. And he said there were 3 commonalities. They believed in a creator that wanted them to thrive. Second, they became unknown to the people around them. They weren't the same person. There was a different ease about them, a peace and joy. And third, they lost track of time in meditation. Elementary meditation is calming your mind down. I do it every morning. Nobody gets my morning but me and my creator. But the real meditation is in your heart. What do you love to do? What do you love to do that you would just lose track of time? And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It's whatever that is. Like, my son's a musician. He would just lose track of time playing the piano or the guitar or the drums. Like, it's his love. And he's got this phenomenal job that's okay. He's great at it. But the reason he's great at it is he does the thing that he loves to do. Well, his mom is one of those people. Quinn, my son, and I talk about Lynn. She's not the same person. She was diagnosed with cancer 12 years ago, healed herself. Then it came back and she did it again. But this second time, she knew she was here to pay it forward. She is not the same human being. So in that first question, are you ready for change? Make a decision, you're ready for change. Second, create your ideal wellness plan. Well, this free gift we have for you called a 15-day Kickstart Detox Plan. It's a catchy name. We know it needs to be a catchy name, but it's so beyond 15 days. It's a kickstart for 15 days, but for the rest of your life, it will show you how to constantly detox, the importance of gut restoration, maintenance. Third, how to shift your poor habits to ideal habits. Notice your triggers. Fourth, how to create an ideal wellness plan. And you know more than you think. And so in all of that, by the way, Lynn's footage in that 43-minute video didn't even have to be edited. She was up like late the night before with her dementia mother and just popped in, and it was like, she's so in the zone. And you will hear how to create an ideal wellness plan. And what we realized, took us 8 months to create it, because we realized that the viewers, the listeners would have they'd have different games. Some of them just stepping into it for 15 days would be a stretch. Some of them that were sick and not doing well needed to go narrow. And then that achiever that wants to go to the next level. So we created these templates, and it means a lot of things: water source, food and beverage plan, fun and recreation, meditation, sweating, detoxing. And so it's magic. So, and then the third part that I'm leading to is mindset. I realized that I needed to help them train their brain how to think. And it became just a magical process with helping people see their limiting beliefs when they think they can't, or they are so used to something. And we support them in training their brain how to think. What does that mean? Writing affirmations based on us coaching them on the limiting beliefs that they're making real. That's not true. You know, some of them were like, I've always been fat. I've always been heavy. That's what they really believed. And then to see them and hear my word, release, you know, so much weight. They released it. It wasn't a diet. They just started transforming their mind. It's a long conversation, but just remember, it's in the show notes, I'm sure, but it's called, or the URL is bodytemplekickstart.com. So Body Temple is the name of the company. Kickstart's the plan. And in that, you will end up with a whole program and also access to our Kickstart detox manual, our Body Temple shopping guide. I mean, we'll lead you to online links wherever you are in the world that are just like total excellent food that you can have even delivered, and then a whole ebook on toxins to avoid, toxins and ingredients to avoid. Yeah.
Right. Really had an incredible time having this conversation with you, Steve and Q.Wiltshire. Do you have any projects in the pipeline you'd like to share with my audience?
I just want you to know that you're an incredible coach. I can't believe some of the things that I shared today, because you took the time to really think about these questions, things that I've never really shared before on the show. I feel like you put me in this beautiful hypnotic state, and I'm going to lead or end with, there are two pathways. What you realize in this 15-day, it's just like a 15-day time frame to kickstart your health, is there's two pathways. The first pathway is the decisions you make. And the second pathway is the products you take. Like what restored my health is I searched for, I mean, I was on $833 a month of supplements that somebody just said, this will help you win your show. And part of the reason for that is they said, you're not willing to do steroids. And I mean, I won all categories. And I guess some of the other contestants did steroids. It wasn't a natural show. I didn't. And so they had me on stimulants and things that they didn't really tell me. They just said, take these products. And I was just dumb me following the guidance, because I'd always worked with professional coaches outside of health, like business coaches and faith coaches. And I just followed the regimen. And so I looked for a chemical-free product and I couldn't find it. And I found a formulator that could make it. But he said, there's really not very many, especially around gut health and digestive enzymes. So he sent me these products in like plastic bags. And then when I started this movement, I said, I want to create a close to the same formulation. So I've created I really don't take a lot of supplements because I eat food to heal. And I created 3 products. One's called a purified detox formula. for detox and maintenance, I eliminate within an hour the next day. And when you eliminate, when it's healthy, it looks like a swirl, like an S or a lead pipe. And there's not really a lot on your tissue. And so I did take some detox gut early on, and it made me sick. I had diarrhea. I mean, it's an incredible product. And we offer that in the Kickstart Detox, 30-day money-back guarantee, 25% off, 100% chemical free. And then we have a digestive enzyme that's over the top, and a pre-probiotic with 5 million or billion spores. I've been on 3 podcasts that they found me, and they're hackers. I didn't even know there's such a thing. And they actually look for, or they expose these supplements that are really toxic for you. And they said, we want you to be on your show because you are in the 1%. You have a 100% chemical free product. We saw I wanted to know from where they were planted to the capsule that it was in, that it was 100% chemical free. And you'll notice under the video there's 5 steps. The step 1, fill out that 3-minute evaluation. The reason it's 3 minutes is we've thought of everything you would want and not want with health. And you're just checking the boxes, and then it will spit out a report, and like email you a report, and it will blow your mind, because you will know what you want, and you will know the things that you need to change about yourself to get what you want. And you'll even hear from a body temple coach after you fill that out. They'll call you up or text you and say, let me help you. And they'll give you a 30-minute consultation and lead you to complimentary resources. Long answer. Thank you, my friend, for having me on your show. What an incredible podcast. I can't wait to guide all of our followers to your podcast. You're the real deal.
Thank you once again, Steve. I really had a great time with you on this show today. So I can only wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors, in all the projects you have in the pipeline. Right? Any social media connections you'd like to share?
I'm so grateful that God led us to cross paths. And I really acknowledge the amazing work that you're doing. I've only caught 1 episode, but there's 6 that I can't wait to listen to. And I'm going on a sabbatical on April 6th. And I'm going to listen to these episodes, of course, write a great review. And then I'm going to email you all my takeaways. So you're going to be my accountability. I love what your show is all about. And I know that you do it with the purest sense of impact in the world. Thank you so much for the difference you're making in our world, my friend.
I'm humbled once again now, Steve. Right. I like to have your social media connections.
Sorry?
Your social media connections, if any. I know you have.
I miss that.
Your social media connections. My audience would like to know.
How to find me, you mean?
Yes, on social media.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. So the Body Temple community we talked about, you can jump into Facebook, search Body Temple Community. Thank you. And the site is bodytemplellc.com, bodytemplellc.com. But seriously, I really want you to just focus on that Kickstart Detox video. You jump into the Kickstart program, remember bodytemplelkickstart.com, bodytemplelkickstart.com. That 43-minute video, even if you're not watching it while you're driving, walking your dog, at the gym, whatever you love to do, even 2 settings, it will set you up to create an ideal plan.
Right. It's really been a worthwhile time once again having Steve on the show, right? If you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of Life Well Lived, you can catch up on any social media platforms, right, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Perhaps you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can mail me at omobalasteven.o@outlook.com. I'll be looking forward to your mail. If you also like to catch up any missed episodes of Life Well Lived, go online and search for Life Well Lived by Omobala Steven on any podcast distribution platforms you bump into, or any cross-promotion platforms you bump into online, and do have an amazing time. I need you to stay safe always, with all my love. Talk to you soon.
you seriously